The metal floor was cold against Hyunwoo's face as he slowly opened his eyes. His head pounded like someone had hit him with a hammer. The taste of blood filled his mouth, and his left shoulder screamed with pain every time he tried to move. He was in a small cell with walls that glowed with a strange blue light. The last thing he remembered was his ship exploding around him. The Soul's Pride had been on a routine patrol near the edge of human space when the alien ships appeared. They came out of nowhere, like shadows dropping from the stars. His crew had fought bravely, but they were outnumbered 10-1. The ship's hull had cracked like an egg under the alien weapons. Hyunwoo pushed himself up against the wall and looked around his prison. The cell was barely big enough for him to lie down. There was no bed, just the hard metal floor. A small slot. In one wall probably delivered food, and another opening in the corner served as a toilet. The door was solid metal with no handle on his side. Heavy footsteps echoed in the corridor outside. The sound was different from human footsteps, more like clicking and scraping. Hyunwoo had heard that sound before, during the battle. The aliens, who had destroyed his ship, were coming. The door slid open with a hiss, and 3 creatures walked into the cell. They were tall, much taller than any human, with long arms that ended in sharp claws. Their skin looked like the shell of a giant, insect dark and shiny. Multiple eyes dotted their heads, each one moving independently to look at different things. When they spoke, their voices sounded like a mix of clicking and hissing. "Look at this pathetic thing," said the largest alien. "Is this really what humans look like?" The other 2 aliens laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "So small and weak," said one of them. "No wonder they were so easy to defeat." "The mighty human space force," mocked the 3rd alien. "One small ship with a handful of crew members? They barely lasted 5 minutes against us." Hyunwoo said nothing. He had learned long ago that silence was often the best weapon when facing enemies. He sat quietly against the wall and watched them with calm eyes. The largest alien stepped closer. Red symbols on his uniform marked him as an officer. "I am Commander Velketh of the war vessel Shadowclaw. You are now a prisoner of the Velthari Empire." Still, Hyunwoo remained silent. He studied each alien carefully, noting their weapons, their behavior, the way they moved. Information was power, and right now, information was all he had. "Speak, human," Commander Velketh demanded. "Tell us your name and rank." Hyunwoo looked up at the alien commander with steady eyes. "I was doing routine patrol work," he said simply. The aliens burst into laughter again. "Patrol work," one of them repeated. "Listen to this brave warrior. He was on patrol." "What rank are you, human?" asked Velketh. "I fly ships," Hyunwoo replied. "A pilot." The aliens found this even funnier. "Just a simple pilot. And here we thought we might have captured someone important." Commander Velketh turned to his officers. "Scan the debris field again. Make sure we didn't miss any escape pods. This one is clearly worthless, but there might be others with actual value." "Already done, Commander," said one of the officers. "No life signs detected. This pilot was the only survivor." "Too bad," Velketh said. "I was hoping for an officer or someone with useful information. Instead, we get a low-ranking ship driver." The aliens continued talking, but now they spoke. In their own language. They thought Hyunwoo couldn't understand them, but they were wrong. Years of studying alien languages had taught him to recognize many different species. The Velthari language was complex, but he had learned enough to follow their conversation. "The invasion fleet will reach the outer human colonies in 6 days, Velketh was saying. "Our forces will hit 3 different star systems at the same time." "What about this prisoner?" asked one of the officers. "Keep him alive for now. We'll broadcast his execution to the human settlements before we attack. Let them see what happens to those who resist the Velthari Empire." "Should we interrogate him first?" "Why bother? Look at him. He's just a pilot. What could he possibly know about human military plans?" The officers clicked their agreement. They saw exactly what they expected to see: a defeated human, captured and broken. They didn't notice the way Hyun Woo's eyes tracked their movements, or how he listened carefully to every word they spoke. "The humans are weak," continued Velketh. "Their ships are slow, their weapons are primitive, and their soldiers have no fighting spirit. This war will be over in weeks." "What about their navy?" asked a younger officer. "What navy?" Velketh laughed. "We destroyed one of their patrol ships without taking any damage. If this is the best they can do, conquering their space will be easier than we thought." The aliens spent several more minutes discussing their plans. They talked about troop movements, supply lines, and target priorities. They shared details about their fleet strength and battle tactics. All of this information was valuable, and Hyun Woo stored every word in his memory. "Enough talking," Velketh finally said. "We have work to do. Leave the human here to think about his fate." The three aliens left the cell, and the door slid shut behind them. Hyun Woo was alone again, but now he knew much more than when he had awakened. The Velthari were planning a major attack on human space. They had a large fleet, advanced weapons, and complete confidence in their victory. They also had no idea who they had captured. Hyun Woo smiled slightly as he settled back against the wall. Let them think he was just a simple pilot. Let them believe humans were weak and easy to defeat. Their arrogance would be their downfall, just as it had been for so many other species who had underestimated humanity. The aliens had made a mistake when they destroyed the soul's pride. They had made an even bigger mistake when they decided to take a prisoner. But their greatest mistake was assuming that one human prisoner was powerless. Time would tell them how wrong they were. Outside his cell, Hyun Woo could hear the sounds of the alien ship. Engines hummed with power, crew members moved through the corridors, and officers shouted orders in their clicking language. The Shadow Claw was a large vessel, probably carrying several hundred crew members. Soon they would learn that capturing the wrong human could be the most dangerous thing they had ever done. The door to Hyun Woo's cell opened with a loud hiss 3 days after his capture. This time, a different alien entered. This one was shorter than Commander Velketh, but much wider, with thick armor plates covering his body. Dark scars crossed. His face and his multiple eyes glowed with a hungry light. "I am Senior Interrogator Thrakva," the alien announced in broken human language. "You will answer my questions or you will suffer." 2 guards followed Thrakva into the cell. They grabbed Hyun Woo by his arms and dragged him to his feet. His shoulder still hurt from the crash, but he didn't show any pain on his face. The guards pulled him out of the cell and down a long corridor. The ship's interior was dark and filled with strange smells. Pipes ran along the walls, carrying fluids that glowed different colors. Other aliens moved through the corridors, all of them stopping to stare at the human prisoner. Some pointed and made clicking sounds that might have been laughter. They brought Hyun Woo to a large room with bright lights hanging from the ceiling. In the center of the room was a metal chair with straps and wires attached to it. Around the walls stood several alien officers, all eager to watch the interrogation of their human captive. "Sit!" ordered Thrakva. The guards forced Hyun Woo into the chair and strapped his arms and legs down. Thrakva picked up a device that looked like a metal rod with glowing ends. When he pressed a button, electricity danced between the ends. "This will cause you great pain," Thrakva explained. "But the pain will stop when you give me the information I want." Hyun Woo looked around the room calmly. He counted 12 alien officers watching him. Most of them seemed excited about the coming torture. A few of the younger ones looked nervous, as if they had never seen an interrogation before. "What is your name?" Thrakva asked. "My name is Hyun Woo." "What is your rank in the human military?" "I told you before. I fly ships." Thrakva's eyes flashed with anger. "That is not a rank. Are you an officer? A sergeant, a captain?" I am a pilot, Hyun-woo repeated. The interrogator pressed the electric rod against Hyun-woo's arm. Pain shot through his body like fire, but he didn't scream. He gritted his teeth and stared straight ahead. After a few seconds, Thrakva pulled the device away. You will tell me your real rank, the alien demanded. I pilot spacecraft for the human navy, Hyun-woo said. His voice was steady, showing no sign of the pain he had just felt. Some of the watching officers made clicking sounds of approval. They seemed impressed that the human could resist their torture device, but they still thought he was just a stubborn pilot. Where are the human military bases? Thrakva asked. I don't know. The electric rod touched his other arm. Again, pain filled Hyun-woo's body, but again he remained silent. Sweat appeared on his forehead, but he didn't cry out. Pilots must know about bases, Thrakva insisted. Where do you land your ships? I land where they tell me to land. Who tells you? My commanding officers. Thrakva used the torture device again, this time for longer. The pain was terrible, but Hyun-woo had experienced worse things in his long career. He thought about his training, about all the times he had pushed his body and mind to their limits. This alien's crude torture was nothing compared to what he had endured before. You are stronger than most humans, Thrakva admitted. But everyone breaks eventually. Maybe, Hyun-woo replied, but not today. The interrogator tried different approaches. He asked about human technology, about the locations of colonies, about military strategies. Each time, Hyun-woo gave simple answers that revealed nothing useful. Each time he refused to say more, Thrakva used the electric rod. After an hour of questioning, one of the younger officers spoke up. Senior interrogator, perhaps this human knows more than he appears to know. Thrakva turned to glare at the young alien. Explain. His resistance to pain is unusual. Most creatures would have broken by now. And notice how he speaks. His words are careful, chosen with thought. He is just a pilot, insisted an older officer. A stubborn one, perhaps, but still just a pilot. Hyun-woo listened to their debate with interest. The young officer was smart, but the others wouldn't listen to him. Their arrogance blinded them to obvious clues. What do you think, human? Thrakva asked suddenly. Do you have secrets worth hiding? Everyone has secrets, Hyun-woo replied. What secrets do you have? I know how to fly ships. I know how to survive crashes. I know how to resist torture. Those are skills, not secrets. Sometimes skills are the best secrets of all. Thrakva studied him carefully. You speak strangely for a simple pilot. Your words sound like those of an educated person. All humans learn to speak, Hyun-woo said, but not all humans speak with such precision. Hyun-woo shrugged as much as his restraints allowed. I read books when I'm not flying. The aliens found this amusing. Several of them made clicking sounds that Hyun-woo knew was their version of laughter. A reading pilot, one of them said in their own language. How sophisticated these humans think they are. Next he'll tell us he writes poetry, added another. Thrakva returned to his questioning, but his methods became sloppier as time went on. Frustration made him careless. He began asking leading questions that revealed more about Velthari plans than they learned about human defenses. When our invasion fleet reaches Earth, where will your people try to make their last stand? Thrakva demanded. I wouldn't know, Hyun-woo answered honestly. But now he knew the aliens planned to attack Earth itself, not just the outer colonies. What about the Luna defense stations? How many ships guard them? I'm just a pilot. They don't tell pilots about defense stations. But Thrakva had just revealed that the Velthari knew about the moon's military installations. That information was supposed to be classified. The interrogation continued for another hour. Each question taught Hyun-woo more about what the aliens knew and what they planned. They were gathering intelligence for a massive assault on human space. Their fleet was larger than he had first thought, and they had detailed maps of human territory. Most importantly, they had no idea that help might be coming. Finally, Thrakva threw down his torture device in disgust. "This human is useless. He knows nothing and tells us even less." "Should we execute him now?" asked one of the officers. "No," Thrakva decided. "Commander Velketh wants to broadcast his death before the invasion begins. Let him sit in his cell and think about what's coming." The guards unstrapped Hyunwoo and dragged him back to his cell. As they walked through the corridors, he memorized the ship's layout. Every detail might be important later. Back in his cell, Hyunwoo smiled slightly. The aliens thought they had learned nothing, but he had learned everything. Their invasion, plan, their fleet size, their target priorities, all of it was now clear. They still had no idea who they had captured, and that would be their greatest mistake. 2 days after the interrogation, alarms began screaming throughout the Shadow Claw. Hyunwoo woke up in his cell as red lights flashed and alien voices shouted over the ship's communication system. Something had gone very wrong. All crew to battle stations! Commander Velketh's voice echoed through the corridors. "We have found something that should not exist." Guards ran past Hyunwoo's cell, their weapons ready and their eyes wide with fear. He had seen that look before, during battles when soldiers realized they were facing something far more dangerous than expected. Through the small window in his cell door, Hyunwoo could see aliens moving quickly through the corridors. Some carried tools and equipment, others held weapons. All of them looked worried. "What have they found?" one guard asked another as they passed by. "Dead ships," came the reply. "Velthari ships, torn apart like paper." "How many?" "A whole battle. Group. 12 warships reduced to scrap metal." Hyunwoo pressed his ear to the door, listening carefully. The Velthari had discovered something that frightened them. Their confident attitude from the past few days was completely gone. An hour later, Commander Velketh arrived at Hyunwoo's cell with several officers. The alien commander looked tired and angry. His multiple eyes kept moving as if he expected danger to appear at any moment. "Human," Velketh said. "What do you know about the destruction of Velthari ships?" "I know you destroyed my ship," Hyunwoo replied calmly. "Not your ship. Our ships. Someone is hunting us, destroying our vessels, one by one. I've been in this cell for 5 days. How would I know anything about other ships?" Velketh stepped closer to the window. "The damage patterns are unlike anything we have seen before. The weapons that did this are far more advanced than anything in our files about human technology." "Maybe your files are incomplete," Hyunwoo suggested. "Impossible! We have studied human ships for years. Your weapons are primitive, your armor is weak, and your engines are slow." "If you say so," one of the officers spoke up nervously. "Commander, perhaps the humans have been hiding their true capabilities." "Nonsense," Velketh snapped. "We destroyed this human ship easily. How could they have weapons powerful enough to cut through our battle armor?" Hyunwoo said nothing, but inside he was beginning to understand what was happening. Someone was looking for him. Someone with access to the newest and most powerful human technology. "Show me the debris field," Velketh ordered his officers. They activated a small viewing screen outside Hyunwoo's cell. The image showed space filled with twisted metal and floating wreckage. What had once been 12 mighty Velthari warships was now nothing but scrap and debris. "This is impossible," whispered one of the younger officers. "The destroyer-class ships in that battle group had the strongest armor in our fleet." "And look, at this," another officer pointed to the screen. "The cuts are perfectly clean. Whatever did this sliced through our hulls like they were made of soft metal." Hyunwoo studied the wreckage carefully. The damage was indeed impressive. Each ship had been systematically torn apart by weapons that could cut through the toughest alien armor. Only the newest human military technology could create such precise destruction. There are no human ships in this area, Commander Velketh said, trying to convince himself. Our sensors would have detected them. Unless they have better stealth technology than we thought, suggested an officer. Impossible. Human stealth systems are decades behind ours. But doubt was creeping into the alien commander's voice. The evidence floating in space couldn't be argued with. Something had destroyed an entire Velthari battle group, and the aliens had no explanation for it. More reports began coming in over the ship's communication system. Other alien vessels were finding similar debris fields throughout the sector. Each discovery revealed the same thing. Velthari ships completely destroyed by unknown weapons. Sir, the communications officer called from the bridge, we're receiving distress signals from the Razor Wind and the Bloodhunter. Put them through, Velketh ordered. Static filled the speakers, followed by panicked alien voices. This is Captain Mordak of the Razor Wind. We are under attack by an unknown vessel. It appeared out of nowhere and... The transmission ended in a burst of static. Bloodhunter, report your status, Velketh shouted into his communicator. We see it, came the terrified reply. Massive ship, unknown design. It's charging weapons. We can't penetrate its shields. It's cutting through our hull like... Another burst of static, then silence. The bridge of the Shadow Claw fell quiet except for the hum of equipment. 2 more ships had just been destroyed by whatever was hunting the Velthari fleet. How is this possible? Whispered one of the officers. What kind of ship can destroy our vessels so easily? It must be some kind of new human weapon, said another. A prototype or secret project. Commander Velketh turned back to Hyunwoo's cell. You, pilot, what do you know about advanced human warships? I told you. I fly patrol ships, Hyunwoo replied. Small vessels for routine missions. Don't lie to me. Your people have obviously been hiding their true military power, have they? The evidence is all around us. Ships being destroyed by weapons we didn't know humans possessed. Hyunwoo looked directly at the alien commander. Maybe you should have done more research before starting a war. What do you mean? I mean that sometimes when you attack someone, they fight back. The words were simple, but they carried a weight that made several of the alien officers step backward. For the first time since his capture, Hyunwoo had spoken with the voice of someone who understood war and its consequences. You know something, Velketh accused. You know what's hunting us. I know that actions have consequences, Hyunwoo said calmly. I know that when you attack others, you should be prepared for retaliation. But how could humans have such powerful ships? Our intelligence reports said, Your intelligence reports were wrong. The alien commander stared at Hyunwoo through the cell window. Something in the human's calm confidence was beginning to worry him. This prisoner didn't act like a defeated pilot. He acted like someone who knew that help was coming. Sir, the communications officer called again. We're detecting a new contact on long-range sensors. Another debris field? No, sir. A ship. Moving fast and heading directly toward us. Velthari vessel? Unknown, sir. The design doesn't match anything in our databases. Commander Velketh looked at Hyunwoo one more time. The human sat quietly in his cell, but there was something different about him now. His calm confidence had been replaced by something that looked almost like anticipation. How long until the unknown ship reaches us? Velketh asked. At current speed. Approximately 6 hours, sir. Can we outrun it? Unknown, sir. Its velocity is higher than anything we've seen before. In his cell, Hyunwoo smiled slightly. The hunt was almost over, and soon the hunters would become the hunted. The unknown ship appeared on the Shadow Claw's main screen like a nightmare made real. It was enormous, easily twice the size of the Velthari cruiser, with sleek lines and armor that seemed to absorb light itself. Strange energy patterns flowed across its hull like rivers of blue fire. By the ancient void, whispered one of the alien officers on the bridge. What is that thing? Commander Velketh stared at the approaching vessel with all of his eyes. His claws gripped the edge of his command chair so tightly that the metal began to bend. "Run a full scan. I want to know everything about that ship." "Scanning now, sir," replied the sensor operator. After a few seconds, he looked up with confusion. "Sir, this doesn't make sense. The readings are impossible." "Explain." "The ship's hull is made from materials we've never seen before. Its energy output is 10 times higher than our own. And, sir, its weapon systems are unlike anything in our databases." "How can humans have technology this advanced?" demanded Velketh. "Our spies have been watching them for years." Down in his cell, Hyunwoo listened to the panic spreading through the ship's communication system. He could hear the fear in the alien voices as they realized they were facing something far beyond their understanding. "Sir!" the communications officer suddenly called out. "The unknown vessel is sending a transmission." "Put it through," Velketh ordered. Static filled the speakers for a moment, then a clear human voice spoke in perfect Velthari language. The voice was calm, professional, and completely without fear. "Velthari vessel Shadow Claw, this is Captain So-Ra of the Human Stellar Navy warship Incheon's Wrath. You are currently holding Admiral Lee Dong-min, Supreme Commander of the 3rd Human Fleet. Release him immediately, or your ship will be destroyed." The alien bridge fell completely silent. Every officer stared at the communication panel as if it had just spoken words from another dimension. The human prisoner they had been mocking and torturing for days was not just a pilot. He was one of the highest-ranking military officers in human space. "That's impossible," Velketh whispered. "He told us he was a pilot. Just a simple pilot." "Admiral Lee Dong-min," the communications officer repeated slowly. "Sir, that name is in our military files. He's the human who destroyed our fleet at Proxima Centauri. He's the one who broke our lines at the Battle of Kepler's Gate." "No," Velketh said, shaking his head. "No, this is some kind of trick, a deception to make us afraid." But even as he spoke, Velketh was remembering details about his prisoner. The way the human had resisted torture without breaking. His careful choice of words during interrogation. The calm confidence that never wavered even when facing death. "Velthari vessel," the human captain's voice continued, "you have 30 seconds to respond before we consider you hostile." "Open a channel," Velketh ordered with shaking claws. "Channel open, sir. This is Commander Velketh of the Shadow Claw. We have a human prisoner, but he is just a pilot from a patrol ship. He told us himself that he only flies ships. Admiral Dong-min was conducting a reconnaissance mission when you attacked his vessel," Captain So-Ra replied. "Flying ships is indeed one of his many skills. He is also the architect of humanity's current defense strategy and the commanding officer of our most elite battle group." The alien officers looked at each other in growing horror. They had captured the human equivalent of their own supreme fleet commander, and they had been torturing him for information. "This changes nothing," Velketh said, trying to sound confident. "He is our prisoner. If you attack us, we will kill him." "You will not," So-Ra replied simply. "How can you be so certain?" "Because, Commander Velketh, you are no longer in a position to threaten anyone." Suddenly, every alarm on the Shadow Claw began screaming at once. The ship's defensive systems activated automatically as they detected weapons lock from the human vessel. "Sir," the weapons officer shouted, "they've locked onto our weapon systems, our engines, and our command center simultaneously. I've never seen targeting this precise." "Impossible! No ship can target that many systems at once." "It's not just targeting them, sir. Look at the power readings." On the main screen, energy readings from the human ship showed weapons charging. With more power than the entire Velthari vessel could generate, the Incheon's Wrath wasn't just superior to the Shadow Claw. It was in a completely different class of technology. "Fire on them!" Velketh ordered desperately. "I can't, sir. Their targeting system has disabled our main weapons." As if to prove the point, the Shadow Claw's primary weapon arrays simply shut down. Not destroyed, not damaged, just turned off. As if someone had pressed a switch. "How is this possible?" whispered the alien commander. "Velthari vessel." Captain Sora's voice came through the speakers again. "We have demonstrated that your ship is defenseless against our capabilities. Release Admiral Dongmin now, or we will disable your life support systems." In his cell far below, Hyunwoo heard everything through the ship's communication system. After days of letting the aliens believe he was powerless, the truth was finally revealed. He was Admiral Lee Dongmin, one of the most decorated and feared commanders in human space. The guards outside his cell were talking in frightened whispers. "An admiral! We've been guarding an admiral!" "Do you think he'll have us executed when he gets free? If we're lucky, execution will be quick." Hyunwoo, Admiral Dongmin, stood up in his cell and walked to the small window in the door. When the guards saw him looking at them, they stepped back in fear. "Guards," he said calmly, "I suggest you open this door and escort me to the bridge." We can't do that without orders from the commander," one of them stammered. "Then I suggest you get those orders quickly," the admiral replied. "Because in about 5 minutes, Captain Sora is going to demonstrate what human military technology can really do. And trust me, you don't want to experience that while I'm still locked in this cell." On the bridge, Commander Velketh was desperately trying to find a way out of his situation. Every tactical option led to the same conclusion. His ship was completely outmatched. "Sir," the communications officer called, "the human captain is transmitting again." "Admiral Dongmin," Sora's voice said, "if you can hear this, please respond. We are ready to extract you from that vessel." Velketh realized he had only one card left to play. "Open a channel to the entire ship," he ordered. "Channel open, sir." "Admiral." "Lee Dongmin," Velketh announced. "Report to the bridge immediately. Your transportation is waiting." The admission echoed through every corridor of the Shadow Claw. The human they had captured, mocked, and tortured was actually one of the most powerful military leaders in known space. And now he was about to be freed. Down in the detention level, the guards hastily opened Admiral Dongmin's cell. As he stepped out, they could see that everything about him had changed. He no longer looked like a defeated prisoner. He stood straight, his eyes were sharp and alert, and he carried himself with the unmistakable bearing of a man accustomed to command. "Gentlemen," he said to the terrified guards, "shall we go to the bridge? I believe my ride is here." Admiral Dongmin walked onto the bridge of the Shadow Claw with the confidence of a man who had commanded star fleets across the galaxy. The alien officers stepped back as he approached, their multiple eyes wide with fear and disbelief. The human they had been calling a simple pilot now stood before them as one of the most dangerous military minds in known space. Commander Velketh tried to maintain his authority, but his voice shook as he spoke. "Admiral, your ship is demanding your release. We are prepared to negotiate terms." "Terms?" Admiral Dongmin looked around the bridge with calm eyes. "Commander, you are in no position to negotiate anything. We still have weapons. We can still fight!" The Admiral walked over to the tactical display and studied it for a moment. "You have no functional weapons. Your engines are operating at 30% power, and your shields are down. Captain Sora has been very gentle with you so far." "Gentle?" Velketh's voice rose to a screech. "She has disabled half our systems." "If she wanted to destroy you, Commander, this conversation would not be taking place. Your ship would already be space dust." One of the younger alien officers stepped forward nervously. "Admiral, sir, we didn't know who you were. We thought you were just a pilot." "I am a pilot," the Admiral replied. "I'm also a fleet commander, a tactical strategist, and the person responsible for defending human space against threats like your invasion fleet." "Our invasion fleet?" Velketh asked. "Did you think I spent 5 days in your cell just waiting for rescue? I listened to every conversation, every plan, every detail about your upcoming attack on human colonies. Your interrogator was particularly helpful. He told me about your fleet positions, your target priorities, and your estimated arrival times. The alien officers looked at each other in growing horror. They had revealed their entire military strategy to the one person who could use it against them. "Impossible," whispered Thrakva, who had just arrived on the bridge. "You were tortured. You were in pain." "I've experienced much worse than your crude devices," the Admiral said calmly. "Pain is temporary. Information is permanent." Admiral Dong Min activated the ship's communication system without asking permission. "Captain Sora, this is Admiral Dong Min. I am secure and ready for extraction." "Understood, Admiral," came the immediate reply. "Transport beam ready on your signal." "Before I leave," the Admiral said, turning back to the alien crew, "let me give you some free advice. When you return to your fleet, tell them that their invasion plans have failed before they even began. We know where you're going, when you're going there, and how many ships you're bringing." "You're bluffing," Commander Velketh said desperately. "Am I? Your invasion fleet is supposed to hit the Centauri colonies in 4 days. Admiral Thrakva told me you have 47 ships in 3 battle groups. Your supply convoy is hiding behind the gas giant in the Ross system. Your command ship is the Void Ripper, and your overall commander is General Skorthak." The bridge fell silent. Every detail the Admiral had mentioned was absolutely correct. "How could you know all that?" whispered one of the officers. "Because you told me, all of you. Every conversation, every casual comment, every careless word. You thought I was just a broken prisoner, so you spoke freely around me." Admiral Dong Min walked to the center of the bridge and looked at each alien officer in turn. "You made 3 critical mistakes. First, you assumed that humans are weak just because we don't look like warriors. Second, you captured someone without knowing who he really was. And third, you forgot that intelligence gathering is more valuable than torture." "What happens now?" asked Commander Velketh quietly. "Now you have a choice," the Admiral replied. "You can try to continue your invasion, plan, knowing that we'll be ready for you. Or you can return to your space and tell your leaders that humanity is not the easy target they thought we were. And if we choose to fight, then you will discover why Captain Sora's ship is called the Incheon's Wrath. You've seen what it can do to individual vessels. Imagine what it could do to an entire fleet." The Admiral activated his communication device again. "Captain Sora, please demonstrate our ship's capabilities for our hosts." "With pleasure, Admiral." Through the bridge windows, the aliens watched as the Incheon's Wrath moved with impossible grace. The massive human warship positioned itself near a large asteroid floating in space. Without warning, beams of pure energy shot out from the ship's weapons. The asteroid, which was the size of a small moon, simply vanished. Not destroyed, not broken apart, completely vaporized in less than 3 seconds. That asteroid was larger than your ship, Admiral Dong Min observed, and it took us less time to destroy it than it takes you to charge your main weapons. Several of the alien officers made whimpering sounds. They had never seen destruction on such a scale delivered so casually. "This is impossible," Thrakva muttered. "Human technology can't be this advanced." "You're right," the Admiral agreed. 5 years ago it couldn't. But humanity has a wonderful ability to adapt when threatened. Your recent attacks on our outer colonies motivated us to develop new technologies very quickly." "Recent attacks?" Commander Velketh asked. "Oh, yes. We've known about your scouting missions and probe attacks for months. Did you think we were blind? Every time you destroyed one of our outposts, every time you captured one of our people, you taught us more about your capabilities. And we learned," the Admiral smiled slightly. "The patrol ship you destroyed 5 days ago wasn't on a routine mission, Commander. It was specifically designed to look weak and vulnerable. We wanted you to capture me." "What?" Several aliens exclaimed at once. "I volunteered for this mission. We needed to know your invasion plans, your fleet strength, and your strategic thinking. The best way to learn those things was to let you capture someone important enough to be worth questioning, but not so obviously important that you would be suspicious. You let us torture you. On purpose? Thrakva asked in disbelief. Information is the most powerful weapon in any war, the Admiral replied. A few days of discomfort was a small price to pay for complete knowledge of your battle plans. Admiral, Dong Min walked to the bridge's communication console. Captain Sora, please prepare to receive the data I've gathered. Also, transmit our analysis of Velthari fleet movements to Admiral Yeon-jae at Central Command. Transmitting now, Admiral. Commander Velketh slumped in his command chair. We've lost, haven't we? Your invasion was lost the moment you decided to take prisoners instead of simply killing everyone, the Admiral said. But you still have a chance to avoid total disaster. What do you mean? Return to your space. Tell your leaders that humanity is prepared for war, and that war will not go as they expect. Some of your people might listen to reason. And if they don't? Admiral Dongmin looked out at the Inchen's wrath floating majestically in space. Then they will learn the hard way that humanity does not forgive those who threaten our people. A beam of light surrounded the Admiral, and his form began to shimmer. Transport initiated, Captain Sora announced. Commander Velketh, the Admiral said as he started to fade away, the next time you capture a human prisoner, you might want to ask more questions about who they really are. The transport beam completed its work, and Admiral Dongmin vanished from the alien bridge. The Shadow Claw was left drifting in space, its crew stunned and defeated. They had learned a lesson that would spread throughout the Velthari Empire. Humanity was far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. And somewhere, in human space, Admiral Dongmin was already planning the defense that would turn the aliens' invasion into their greatest defeat.